Good morning viewers and welcome to the EduSat live lecture for the Management and Professional stream. Today we have with us Dr. Praveen Sharma, Associate Professor of Department of Education at Hindu College, Sonipat. She has a 30 years vast experience of teaching, during which she has guided students towards their PhDs, has written 11 books and has been a keynote speaker at various conferences. She constantly publishes in national and international journals, and today she is going to talk about social development of a child, the factors and the influencers for this development of personality, and how the student or a child will go out into the society, conform to it, adhere to its moral values, and all these have to be taken care by the teacher who has to guide and shape the personality of a child. So without much ado, we welcome Dr. Praveen Sharma for the lecture. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Unnati ji. Good morning, viewers and listeners. Today in this session, we'll talk about social development of a child. What do we actually mean by social development, and what are the factors which influence in shaping the personality of the child, and how it is affected by other factors also, how the child himself or herself is responsible for the social adjustment, for social development of himself or herself. Personalities never develop in vacuum. They exist in the society. Society has a great influence in shaping the personality of the child. Only matters, the thing is, the capacity of the individual in acquiring and learning the things from the society, because whatever a child learns and acquires, that acquires in the society, but it depends how much capacity an individual is having in grasping the things, because it depends on many factors. So we'll see how the development takes place in any individual, because there are the individual differences also. So it depends and it varies. As after the birth of the child starts growing, he or she starts interacting with other person in the society, first of all with the family members. So and after growing up, he interacts with his or her playmates, peer groups, friends, community members, and in that kind of interaction he learns how the things are getting shaped and how the individual tries to get the things, and how a child tries to get the things from the family members, from the community, from the society. So both individual and society, they are influencing each other. So it depends how the individual is influenced by the society, because one has to live in the society and one has to adhere to the norms and values of the society. So in further discussion, we'll see what kind of policy, what kind of government is there where the child is being brought up, and what kind of atmosphere prevails in the family, in the community, in the society, and which kind of government is there where in the nation where individual is developing. So let us see step by step what do we actually mean by social development. Human beings possess a unique characteristics which separates them from animal beings. This behavior is social. Society is essential as food to them. They believe in the maintenance of social relationship and try to adjust with others. The process of the development of such qualities which brings desirable changes in his social behavior is referred to as social development or socialization of the child. See, when I talk about the desirable changes, so it depends in which kind of society individual is being brought up, because one has to adhere to the norms of the society. So what are the desirable changes which a society or which a teacher, which the parents wants to bring in the society. So that depends on the kind of the system where one is being brought up. So see in this pic how the individual is being developed with the interaction of the other members in the society. Let us see how the famous psychologist Herlock has defined what do we actually mean by social development. You know, as an individual attains maturity, he tries to interact with the members of the society. So social development according to Herlock is the attainment of maturity in social relationship, and we expect from a mature person that he or she is ready to accept the views of others and try to maintain the balance in the relationship, maybe emotionally and maybe socially, because one has to adhere to the norms and one has to maintain the balance in the relationship. So the famous psychologist Herlock has said that it is gaining maturity, it is getting maturity in maintaining the social relationship. And according to Freeman and Chauvel, social development is the process of learning to conform to group standards, mores and traditions, and becoming imbued with a sense of oneness, intercommunication and cooperation. Freeman and Chauvel has tried to cover so many aspects. First, conforming to the group. In the group where we are developing or where we are interacting, we have to conform to the ideologies of the group. If somehow we have different opinion, we are not to behave like a stubborn personality, but we expect from a member of a group that we have to conform to the ideologies of the groups and the mores and traditions which are prevailing, and to the traditions or to the cultures to which every member is accepting, and they are giving their readiness to follow, and becoming imbued with a sense of oneness, so that to that ideology every member of the group feel that we are one, and intercommunication, so that the communication of the ideas and the ideologies and the values and the beliefs, they are communicated to each other. And last aspect given by these psychologists is the cooperation. If we want to maintain harmony in relationship and we want to establish peace in the country at national level and as well as international level, we have to try to be cooperative, we have to try to maintain the peace in the environment, so that everywhere the environment is congenial. And as earlier to it I have spoken to you, my dear listeners, that in which kind of society one is being developed, that is important in shaping the personality of the individual. So with this discussion we can conclude like social development is the tolerance of the views of the others, meaning by suppose we are sitting in a meeting, we are sitting in a conference, or maybe we are teaching in a class, we are interacting in any group anywhere. So we should be ready to tolerate the views of the others. It is not there, it should not be there that what I have said, it is the final view. No, one should be ready to tolerate the views of the others. And social development as well as is the ability to cooperate with others. We have to cooperate with others, and ability to adjust to members of various social groups. There are various groups. We might have joined one group or the others. So we have to try to maintain the balance in our relationship, so that within a group and intergroups also we can maintain the balance and cooperation and good relationship, and ability to make friends, because we have come to know by the time that social adjustment is when we interact with other persons in the society, in the community. So as we make friends, we interact with so many people, some may be having different ideas. So when so many minds meet, we have the best ideas. So social development implies that one is having the ability to make friends. We do not expect that one individual in a society, in a group, is sitting isolated, and child never wants to be isolated, because when there is a group, all the children are playing, and if one child is being isolated by the other members of the group, child never likes. And ability to take interest in others, when an individual is self-centered and do not take interest in others, then there will be no communication, there will be no cooperation, there will be no social development, there will be no social adjustment. And for happiness, one has to learn the adjustment capability. When in counseling session or whenever I am teaching to my students, most of the time when I talk about adjustment, most of the time students say, "Ma'am, is it surrender?" Then I have to say that there is a hairline difference in the surrender and in the adjustment. My dear friends, when we make adjustment, we do not oblige any other person, rather we are trying to seek happiness for others. When we make adjustment with others, then the feeling of happiness will be spread everywhere, and only a happy person can maintain the happiness and peace in the environment. If you yourself are frustrated, though you will be spreading the frustration. So one has to feel happy, one has to believe in oneself, so that the happiness and the feeling of cooperation is there. So by this we can say that social development is the ability to tolerate others. Social development is the ability to make friends. It is the readiness of accepting the views of others, and it is the cooperation on the part of the individual. Social development has two aspects. One is the socialization and the other is the social horizon. What is the socialization? See, socialization is a process in which the individual develops as a member of group and learns to conform to the values, norms and standards of groups. Here the community feelings are developed in individual, because one is playing or one is being developed, one is growing in the society, then one has to see, one has to obey, one has to learn the values and beliefs which are prevalent in the society. And the next is the social horizon. What is it? When after becoming socialization, the individual learns to become the member of the larger group, and that is what we mean by social horizon. I mean, in the first aspect of that is the socialization, one comes to know what are the values and beliefs and ideologies prevalent in the society, and in the social horizon one goes a step ahead, where one learns how to conform to the values and ideas of the members of the group, because sometime one learns according to the needs of the individual himself or herself, and other time one learns or become ready to learn because one has to live in the society. He is not ready basically, but one has to learn, one has to obey, one has to conform, because living in the society, because in a heart of the heart one has a feeling, if the other person need my help today, and other time I may require the help of that person. So this way, after socialization, one learns to become the member of the other group. See in this pic how one is playing with the group members and trying to become socialized. Social horizon, as I have said, that one has to be ready to accept the interest of the other persons. Here the group loyalty matters. When after the pre-adolescent age, when one individual reach the adolescent age, what happens then at this stage the interest of the individual changes and tries to become loyal to the group, and social perception and social acceptance, one tries to accept the ideas of the others member, and these are the qualities one has to learn by living in the society, that I should be ready to accept the views of the other person. See in this pic how the one individual is trying to become the member of the larger group and ready to accept the ideas of the others and trying to become cooperative with each other. So, how the social development takes place, what is the sequence, what is the nature of this social development? First, one has to be aware of others, one has to move further after knowing the vested interest of the individual, that these are the interest of the other person, and I have to identify, I have to recognize the interest of the other persons. Then discrimination of social stimulus. Now, as the child starts growing up, learns to know the various stimulus. Here by stimulus I means in the beginning child knows the touches of the mother only, and now going a step ahead tries to know the touches and the noises of the other persons, go step ahead. Social responses during the first year. Now at the age of the first year tries to know the other responses and starts giving responses. Then the preschool child. Here the child starts playing with the peer group and makes only 2 or 3 friends only and moving around with them, because the child is not social, because as the child takes birth neither social neither nor unsocial, but after interacting with the family members and then the preschool at the preschool stage plays with very selected friends, and then at the elementary school child now tries to become friendly to the larger group, and social behavior at the adolescent age. Now after leaving the vested interest of the oneself, here at this adolescent age one tries to become loyal to the group, because leaving the interest of the individual himself or herself, one tries to follow the rules or ideas of the group, and here the child at this age gives more importance to the friends, and at this age sometimes the a child is becoming attracted to the friend of opposite sex. Then nature, social behavior related to learning and maturation. As soon as the child starts getting matured, he or she learns how to behave in a society. The child may not be ready to accept it, but accept the things, tries to make adjustment, because he or she has come to know that I have to develop, I have to grow in this society, so I have to accept the ideas of the other persons. And influence of culture on social behavior is also there. You know, every society has its modes, values and traditions different to the other society, and these values and ideas of the society are known as culture of that particular society, and the culture of one society varies from the culture of the different society. So child has to learn, and here the parents and the teachers as well has to make the child aware that as you are living in this society and you are growing in this society, so you have to accept the ideas of the society, because this is the culture of our society. Now, I must tell you that there are two kinds of potentials within the child. First is the potentials for the positive social behavior. Here at this stage, the child is having a feeling of sympathy and compassion. Sympathy, here what we mean by it, that when any individual sees that the other person is having problem, tries to sympathize, tries to have a feeling of pity with them. And what is the feeling of compassion? This is when one individual sees that the other person is facing a problem, then in this situation one tries to place himself or herself in the position or in the place of that individual, how the person must be suffering. So that is a stage ahead to the sympathy. In sympathy, one tries to sympathize only, oh, you should not have this problem, I really feel pity for you. But in the stage of compassion, one tries to place himself, oh, if this had happened with me, I could not tolerate, so I must be cooperative with that person. Then the popularity. At this stage, at the positive social development, because the child has potentiality for positive social development. Here at this stage, the child tries to gain the popularity of the family members, of the peer group, of the playmates, of the society members, of the community members. So, to gain the popularity and to gain the favorable opinion about the other members, one tries to leave the vested interest and tries to do exceptional things for the other member, so that everyone can say, hey, you are a good person, you really did a commendable activity, so you deserve appreciation. So this kind of popularity one tries to seek, because here the individual is having the potentiality for getting a positive social behavior. So when one is seeking this kind of popularity and performing that kind of activity, one gets a good feedback. When one is getting appreciation, tries to do more good activities. And competition, by observing or by organizing healthy competition, one tries to become a good social member in the society and tries to cooperate with others. As I was talking about the popularity as a positive social behavior, on the other side, one may be having the potentiality for negative social behavior. How it happens? When one tries to impress the others and not getting appreciation. Then, and if that individual, after doing so much hard work, is not getting appreciation from the other person, then what happens? Tries to resist or tries to revolt. And on other aspect, we see when the child does not get his needs fulfilled, he resists, and after that, even then, after the resistance, one is not getting his her needs fulfilled, then tries to be aggressive, tries to revolt, and tries to be stubborn. And by in the preschool age, one tries to make different activities to get the attraction of the other members, maybe by crying or maybe doing some notorious activities in the house. So these are the potentiality for negative social behavior. So we can see by this discussion that the children have two kinds of potentiality of social behavior. One is the positive one and the other is the negative one. So later on I will discuss that the adults, the parents and the teachers have to identify the traits of the particular individual and the nature and interest of the individual, how to identify and how to handle this child, so that the negative aspect of that individual turns into the positive social behavior. Then see, in this pic, the teacher is teaching and the children, they are bullying, they are quarreling, and we can conclude with this picture that these two students, they are having the potentiality of negative behavior. Now we discuss after this that factors influencing social development. As we have discussed that individuals or the personalities, they do not get shaped in vacuum. The society has a great influence in shaping the personality of the individual. The home, the society, the nation, the teachers, our friends, and so many factors, they influence our social behavior. What is the goal of the teachers, what is the desire of the parents, what is the requisite of the other adult members, that the child must grow into a personality which are adjustable in the society, which make adjustment in the society, which may grow up a cheerful person and spread the happiness and peace everywhere where they go. So, see how these factors influence. See, first is the heredity. These are first of all our genes which influence the individual, because some of the characteristics, some of the traits individual inherits from the parents, immediate parents or the ancestors, which influence the social behavior of the individual. Then health and physique. We know that healthy mind dwells in a healthy body. So, health of the individual or physique of the individual is a very important phenomena. If one is physically healthy, will remain a cheerful and a pleasing personality and will try to behave in a requisite manner in the society, will try to behave in a positive manner, will try to cooperate and adjust with other members. And if one is not healthy or one is not feeling good, maybe feeling ill, then will be feeling irritating, will be frustrated, and out of that ill feel or frustration, one tries to decentralize that kind of frustration or feeling on the other members. So, our social behavior is very much influenced by our physical health and our physique. Then the emotional development, all the development, social development, emotional development, physical development and the cognitive development, they are interconnected. So, our emotions, they play a greater role in developing our social behavior. So, our emotions, our intellect, sex, culture and economic conditions, they have a greater influence on our social behavior. So, these are the factors to be known by everyone. So, I hope by this discussion, listeners and viewers and my students, my friends, everyone has come to know, has been aware that what do we mean by social development and what are the factors which influence the social development and social behavior of a child, of any individual. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, viewers and listeners. In this session, we will discuss about the role of the teachers and educational implications of social development, and how the factors which influence the social development of the individual, how by the teacher and the individual himself are to be taken care of. See, in this pic, economic conditions has a great influence on the development of the children. In this pic, we see that the poor children, they are just having their time in playing, and they are not devoting the time to studies, whereas they must be in the school at this stage. So, by this pic we can infer that the economic condition of the individual is having an influence on the development of the child. See, in the next slide, the children who are from the good economic conditions, they are devoting their time to studies. So, we can say that the economic conditions, it has a great influence on the social behavior of the child. Other factors, see, language. Language has a greater effect on the social behavior of the child than form of government. I mean, if we are living in a democratic country, the development of the child and the education system will be different. So, it depends where one is growing up. Then clubs, gangs and experiences, what kind of experiences one has by going to the clubs or the places of entertainment, and what kind of groups one has joined. Then the family, what kind of environment is there in the family. Suppose there is educated family, then the conversation will be related to good mannerisms, good values. So, the family exerts a great influence on the social behavior of the child. Then the school, what is the system prevalent in the education, what are the ideologies of the teachers and the system or the authority of the school, because it has a great effect on the personality of the child. Then the playmates and friends. I know when you were very small, you must have been directed or instructed by your parents and teachers that better alone than in a bad company, because the company you are having has a great influence on your social behavior. So, the playmates and the friends which you choose yourself matters a lot in your social behavior. Then community, what is the environment in the community. So, the community members also has a great effect on the development or social behavior of an individual. What are the stages? There is a great psychologist, Erikson, who has told us that there are 8 stages in the process of socialization. What is that? First stage is the trust versus mistrust. Here what we mean by it, when a child gets love and trust and respect and faith in bringing in the family, then that child will try to develop a trust and faith and feeling of love in the other member in the society. But other way, if the child is developed in a family where everyone is not having trust in each other, and so a feeling of mistrust develops in the child. We can say that a child which is good handled will develop a peaceful or congenial environment in the society, and otherwise vice versa. Then the second stage is stage of autonomy and shame. Parents should not be overprotective. Protective is good, but when we become overprotective, then we can say parents do not show confident attitude toward child and may develop a feeling of shame, because all the time parents say that you cannot do this, I will do for you. Then it is the overprotective behavior of the parents. So, I request all the parents, please do not be overprotective and try to develop a confidence in your child, as the Erikson has told us that this is the second stage of the social development. Then the stage of initiative and guilt. At this stage, child learns to broaden her skills, to cooperate and to lead as well as to follow. If he is fearful, he will continue to be dependent on adults and will be restricted in the development of social skills and development, because we as a parent has not taught the child how to use your skills. Because my dear listeners, all the time parents and teachers cannot hold the fingers of the child and to show you and to tell you are to do this and you are not to do this. So we have not to in guidance and counseling session also I talk to you that we are not to solve the problems of the children, rather we have to tell them how to solve your problems when you come across different types of problems. So if we do not develop the social skills of the children, then a feeling of guilt develops among the children. And then Erikson has told that the next stage is stage of industriousness and inferiority. Child tries to be productive, tries to be creative. When the child does not feel competent, that I cannot do, and do not believe in his or her skills, then he or she may feel a sense of inadequacy or inferiority, because all the time when a child is feeling that I cannot do, and my adults, my teachers, my parents, they do not believe in my competency, so I might not be competent, I might not be having adequate skills. So that kind of guilt starts taking place in the child. Sometimes then the child becomes starts feeling a fear to speak in the public, or may write or any type of skill, may feel having a feeling of guilt. Then the next is told by Erikson is the identity and confusion. Here they need to achieve identity in occupation, role and religion. If they fail to achieve identity, a confusion starts taking place in the child. He tries to adopt occupation or profession according to his skills, according to his choices, but if he is not getting the capability or the capacity or the opportunity to show his worth, then a feeling of confusion starts taking place. And the next stage is the stage of intimacy and isolation. At this sixth stage arise the need to have a relationship with others. If they fail to develop intimate relationship, they may suffer isolation, because even at the preschool stage, none of the child want to be isolated, wants to be recognized by the social groups, by the playmates. So one never wanted to be isolated, because man is not an oak tree who can live alone, wants to be recognized by the society members. So if the individual is not getting intimacy with the group members, tries to feel isolated. And the next stage is the stage of generativity and stagnation. Here, because the individual reaches the maturity stage and take interest in producing as well as guiding the next generation, the individual is able to work productively and creatively. When this interest is lacking, the individual stagnates and may regress. It means that feeling of productivity and creativity as the age level increases, as one reaches the maturity level, this is essential. Otherwise, stagnation type of condition takes place and may regress and may like to remain in isolated situation and never tries to mix up with others. This is not good for the social development. And the next is the stage of ego integrity and despair. Here at this stage, child wants to be recognized that I am something, I have this skill, I can prove myself, and I want to be recognized, and the other persons should accept my ideas. So if this does not happen and child does not get recognition and this does not happen, then a stage of despair or the shocking or the dismay or repression or depression comes. Then the after these 8 stages which has been told to us by a famous psychologist Erikson. Will discuss what are the agencies of socialization, because by this time we have come to know that the social development is important for the positive social behavior and social adjustment of the child, and what are the factors which influence the social development or social behavior of the child. So, we have to see what are the different agencies. I mean, what is the role which can be played by whom, and what a school can do for so, and what is the role of the society. So, one by one we will see as an agency. So, first of all we will discuss what is the role of the home, because home is the first school of the child. So, what kind of behavior our parents, our mother, our father is showing to us, naturally that is directly or indirectly shaping the behavior of the child. If parents all the time nagging to each other, grumbling or complaining, so that kind of behavior, that kind of nature will be developed of the child. So, most of the time I use one sentence that once you become parents, you are no more husband and wife, meaning by that you have to stop grudging your complaints, your past faults and complaining to each other, because what kind of behavior you are showing to each other as a parents, that is taken, that is acquired by the child. And development of social qualities, directly or indirectly the child is following the behavior of the parents. If one sees that my parents, my father, my mother, they are very honest, they are very committed, they are very loyal, and they are very submissive, they are not hurting the other members, they have the feeling of kindness to everyone, maybe poor, maybe rich, maybe close friend, maybe far off friend. So, that kind of social qualities, that kind of values, they are inherited in the child by the parents. And satisfaction of psychological needs, this is the duty of the parents to fulfill the needs of the children, and here the foundation of the character is formed. So, when we talk about character, it is a very holistic aspect, meaning by feeling of punctuality, honesty, sincerity, love, affection, and commitment and loyalty, all the other so many qualities, they come in the one aspect, that is the character. So, this foundation of character is established, is developed, is taken place here in the family. Then development of civic sense, how much organized we are, that is directly or indirectly taken by the parents. Suppose we are driving on the road, and our children are showing us whether we are cooperative to each other in driving, we are following the rules or not. So, if we are following, and if we are just behaving as a very civilized person, so we need not to tell, we need not to teach our child that you have to be like civilized, because he or she, our child, they are observing that our parents are observing or behaving like a civilized citizen. So, we have to be like that. Then development of modes of behavior, what kind of talk we are having with our friends. Our children are very much imitating those kind of behavior. On what issues we are talking to our friends, or in the absence of them we are just talking bad about them, or we are just appreciating the good qualities of our known persons, our friends, our relatives. So, this kind of good qualities, they are taken by the child in the family. Then the vocational choices, such kind of training, such kind of guidance can be given by the parents to the children, that these are the vocation, these are the things in trend, these are the occupations, you have to study this, you have to, from the very beginning the parents can tell their children that you must develop your knowledge, you must focus to your work, these kind of things can be taught to the children in the family. So, social behavior and social development is learnt by the child in the home first. So, we can say home is the first agency in shaping the social behavior of the child. Then see in the spec how the congenial environment is being prevalent in the spec. So, we have to show a very good congenial and lovable and affectionate atmosphere in the home. Then school as an agency. After discussing the role of the parents or the home, we will discuss what a role can be played by the school, what our teachers can do. First is the transmission and enrichment of culture. You know, every society has its norms and values, mores, ethics, and these all are known as the culture of that society. So, how this culture, how these values are being transmitted to the next generation, it depends on the teacher or the persons who are in the school, how it is being transmitted to the children. Then promotion of social efficiency. We have to convert our children in a very civilized social person. So, social efficiency has to be promoted among the children. Then cultivation of higher values. How we can cultivate or inculcate the good values among our students. So, it depends what kind of ideology our teachers are having who are interacting with the students, because if the teacher is having a positive social behavior, so directly or indirectly teacher is inculcating the moral values. Suppose the teacher is punctual, as the bell goes at 10 o'clock, teacher is there. So, teacher has not to instruct all the time students that you must be punctual, because the students know very well that the teacher must be there as soon as the bell goes. So, then the teacher all the time does not require to lecture them that you have to be punctual, because the punctuality itself is being shown in the behavior of the teacher. Then the post school adjustability. Here the very important aspect, you know, whatever we are teaching to the children, they have to show, they have to just use that qualities, that values in the society, because we have to tell them how the learning has to be transferred. The child learns in the school and then transfer that kind of knowledge, that kind of learning in the society. So, we have to inculcate that kind of knowledge among the students, how you have to make adjustment in the society, how you have to make or how you have to establish the peace in the world, in the society, in the family, everywhere, and in one-to-one relationship. Imparting vocational training, a teacher has to tell the students that these are the qualities, these are the potentials in you, and these are the vocations which you can be fit for. So, this is the greater responsibility of the teacher to identify the potentials of the child, so that can guide the child that these are the potentials and you should opt for that vocations. Sometime the creativity or the talent go wasted in the child, because it happens that the child is having potential for different vocation and he or she starts pursuing the different vocation, because unfortunately neither the parents nor the teachers and individual himself herself also does not come to know, does not identify that these are the potentials I am having and this I can do. So, here at this stage one has to be aware, one has to know, one has to make notice of it, the adults one, that we have to identify the potentials of the individual. Then training for leadership. School can impart good leadership, can give training in leadership. I mean not of the politics, rather they has to take initiate in establishing the good values, good ethics in the society. So we as a teacher have to teach our students how to take initiative, how to be a leader in establishing the social qualities, social mannerisms, then complete development of the individual. This is the liability of the teachers, this is the responsibility of the school authorities to develop the child in a complete or holistic personality, because the emotional development, cognitive development, social development and physical development, by organizing the co-curricular activities and sports activities, we have to take care of that the child turns out in a holistic total good personality, and because we have to see the totality of the child. So all this can be possible if the school plays its role in a positive manner, if teachers are committed and they are loyal to their profession, because we have to know about our professional ethics, because we are there in the institutions, we are there in the schools and colleges to make the personalities of the children. So it is our responsibility, it is our duty to turn them in a good citizen. Then see in the SPIC or are involved in developing their skills. Now the third aspect, that is the society as an agency. What society can do in shaping the behavior of the child, how a child can become a well adjustable person in the society. So the norms, values and mannerisms, etiquettes which are there in the members of the society, that matters a lot in shaping the behavior of our children. First, establishment of good school. It is the duty of the society to establish good schools, because the personality or the individuals' talents or traits, they are being shaped in the schools. Future is taking shape, destiny is taking shape in the schools. So it is the duty of the society to establish good schools and to depute good teachers who are really worthy of this teaching profession, who as a teacher comes in this profession not by chance but by choice. They wanted to become teachers. So when the selection of the teacher is done on the merit basis, on the commitment basis, so this can be possible because we require good schools, we require good teachers. Then establishment of good libraries. We really need good libraries where our children can go in their spare time and read the good books. Here the parents and the teachers and the community members has to become an example before the students. Suppose as a teacher or as a parent, I am reading good books, I can tell my youngsters, my children and my students that you must read good books. These are the books I have read. This is the article I read yesterday and you must read it. So by becoming a good example before our youngsters, we can promote our children to go to the libraries. Provision of adult education. This is the duty of the society to educate the adult member of the society. Then providing literary and cultural education. Because the courses, the curriculum are really lengthy. So it depends on the community or on the society to organize such kind of function and co-curricular activities where the child is learning how the society is taking shape and providing vocational education. Society can organize some workshops, some meetings where children can be told, can be made aware about the latest vocations, latest need, and the schools should be just associated to the institutions and inculcating moral, spiritual and noble values. School can inculcate the noble values, then coordinating various agencies. Last is the educational implications. What do we learn? Transmission of culture, social ideas, traditions of school, encouragement of group work, encouragement to healthy competition, encouraging healthy human relations and development of intercultural feeling. These all are the aspects which should be taken care of by the teachers, how we can inculcate the good cultural values, how the traditions of the schools can be established, and how the youngsters can follow the rules or the ethics and mores and values of the society. So, my dear listeners, I hope you are aware that the home, school and the society all have a greater influence in shaping the social behavior of the child, and last but not the least important is the competency and the capability and the liking and interest of the individual, if himself or herself, what kind of potentialities or what kind of interest he or she is showing to become a well organized social citizen, so that his or her behavior is well recognized and can teach everyone to be socialized and can spread happiness and peace everywhere. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for a very interesting talk. Definitely, a holistic learning begins at school, and the teacher has not just the role of laying the fundamentals of subjects, but also fundamentals of society and culture into the students. So, we will be looking into the lectures, and subsequently ma'am will be discussing more and more about child development. And right now, dear viewers, I would request you to send in your questions and queries to the email address, and you can catch this lecture at the YouTube channel. And for further queries, we will be inviting ma'am again for the lecture, so wait for that schedule. Thank you, viewers. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Nidhi ji. Thank you, viewers and listeners. Thank you very much.